Welcome to the show and thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to talk about Cortland football, the 2023 Division III Stag Bowl national champions, and some of the awards that they have been awarded. They have 4 players and 2 coaches that won awards. First, let's start with the 4 players. Zach Boys, Cole Burgess, Cody Akey, and Jack Winnie were the 4 players. Let's start with Jack Boys. He was a junior quarterback last year out of Buffalo. He will be back as a senior this year. He was very impressive, as you would expect for a team that won the national championship. Boys completed 72.3% of his passes. He was 271 out of 375. And get this, he threw for 4,020 yards and 44 touchdowns with only 5 interceptions. He also added 774 yards on 144 rushes with 8 touchdowns. So Zach Boys combined for 52 total touchdowns last year. And if you look at his last 3 games in the playoffs, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the championship game, he was 73 of 97 for 75.3% completions, 1,028 yards, 13 touchdowns, and no interceptions in those last 3 games in the playoffs. Very impressive. He also threw for 349 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he ran for 123 yards. Those were his numbers in the national championship game over North Central Illinois, where they won 38-37. Boys also set a record, some single season records for completions, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and passing efficiency, where he had a rating of 198.4. In total offense, 4,794 yards of total offense Boys had, throwing and running. And his 3 seasons so far at Cortland, he is the school's career leader for passing yards with 7,071, passing touchdowns with 73, and 8,347 total offensive yards. So Zach Boys coming back. He's a huge part of their team. Looking forward to see him in his senior season. Another award winner. Again, these were AP Associated Press Division III All-American awards. Cole Burgess. He was a senior wide receiver out of Greenwich, New York. And he played in 14 games, Burgess did. He caught 87 passes for 1,375 yards and 16 touchdowns. He also set single season records for Cortland for receptions and receiving yards. And he also was tied for receiving touchdowns in program history. He recorded 6 100-yard receiving games, including their final 3 games. So in the national semifinal, he caught 3 touchdown passes. And he's also Cortland's career leader with 3,133 receiving yards, 37 receiving touchdowns, and he ranks 2nd all-time with 178 receptions. So that was his senior season last year. Again, heck of a season, big contributor. Next, we're going to go to Cody Akey. He was a junior last year. He's an offensive lineman from New York. Akey started all 15 games for the Red Dragons last year at right tackle. He's also the team's highest graded lineman. And he was part of an offensive line that helped Cortland set school records for points per game, 46.2, total offensive yards per game at 509 per 2. Wow. Quite the offense last year. And if you look at this, there were 3 games during last season where Cortland gained over 600 yards including an impressive quarterfinal game against Alma where they had 648 yards in the national quarterfinal playoff game. And another impressive stat, Cortland went over 500 yards in 4 other games, capped off by a 503-yard game in the national championship game versus North Central. And again, he is a junior, so he'll be back anchoring that offensive line. And then another guy that won an AP award, who was also a junior, Jack Winnie, linebacker out of Lindenhurst, New York. Winnie, he started all 15 games for Cortland, and he set a single season school record with 141 tackles, including 53 solo tackles. He also had 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback pressures, 3 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble. He also posted double-digit tackles in 6 games. So he had an impressive season. And again, he's coming back. So these 4 players that won AP awards, 3 of them were juniors last year. The quarterback, Zach Boys, right tackle, Cody Akey, and linebacker, Jack Winnie. So that program is excited to have those guys back. And then one last stat for the Red Dragons. They finished the season with 14 victories. That's a school record. They went 14-1, 9-1 in the regular season. They won their 3rd straight Empire 8 title and their first ever national championship. So what an epic season for Cortland, the State University of New York. Now, obviously, it's early. It's only February, so we don't know what their roster will look like this year. But I'm excited to see what they look like coming into once they stop practice and once they get into the summer. They also had 2 coaches that won awards. Their head coach, Kurt Fitzpatrick, was named the American Football Coaches Association Division III Coach of the Year. Again, after he guided the Red Dragons to the first ever national championship. He was also chosen as the D3Football.com National Coach of the Year. So again, they had an impressive season. They went on a 14-1 record, the most wins in school history. And heading into the national tournament, they were ranked 11th in the country by D3Football.com and 13 by the AFCA, American Football Coaches Associations. So he'll be back. Obviously, he's their head coach. They have some solid players coming back, some solid coaches coming back. And then another coach that won an award for them was Patrick Rochford. He's their offensive coordinator. He won the 2023 Football Scoop Division III Coordinator of the Year. No surprise when you look at the numbers that they put up on offense, yards per game, points per game, and just how impressive they were in the playoffs, including that victory in the national championship game where they defeated the defending Division III Stag Bowl national champions. Yeah, so I'm interested and excited to see, what their roster looks like this year. I know they did have quite a few juniors on the team in 2023. So this is one of the teams I have highlighted to look at in the Division III ranks. Again, it's very early, but I wanted to kind of go over the awards that they won. I mean, they had a very, very impressive season and an all-around epic season in program history. Well, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to tune in later this week as we are going to go back into the college football offseason and talk about some of the happenings in Division I. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day.